Good morning. Some folks had asked me about, they wanted to get into flint knapping and asked me where do I get my rocks from? And I mean, you can do a search online and you can find a ton of places to get rocks. Ryan Gill sells rocks. There's flint knapping supplies. There's a lot of places you can get rocks. But I would encourage you not to make the mistake that I made and buy a whole bunch of rocks before you know what you're doing, because you'll just end up with a rock pile of little pieces of gravel that you can do nothing with. So the cheapest way to learn the technique and learn, how to make arrowheads and flint knap is with glass. And you can find some, I've heard of people using old toilet tanks and things like that flakes good, I guess. They call it Johnstown rock. But you can get an old bottle. The bottom of them, I picked this up side the road somewhere. I can't even remember. I just seen a green bottle. I said, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna get it to make an arrowhead out of it, maybe. But anyway, as long as the bottom's kind of flat, this has a little bit of a curve in it, but not bad. And I picked this. Somebody threw this one out on the road coming by my house there. But I would encourage you to start with some glass. And this, I've only knapped 1 point out of glass, but it works sort of like obsidian, which is a glass anyway, a volcanic glass. So that's what I would do. I would learn the technique, learn how to knap the basics with something cheap like glass, old window panes, stuff like that. And then, as your skills progress, then buy you some rocks. And from my opinion, obsidian is easy to learn with, but I'm a hunter first, and I keep hearing people tell me that obsidian is too brittle. And then I don't know. I don't have that much experience hunting with it. I killed one little tiny pig, and he wasn't a challenge for the broadhead with the obsidian. I've killed the others with the chert and Keokuk, and they held up good. So I got on my #1 arrow, I do have an obsidian head for deer or pig, a bigger hog. How do you know? I know there's plenty of people kill stuff with them. But anyway, there you have it. But I know of people that killed stuff with glass arrowheads. But we're gonna start. We got a green one and a brown one here, and we're liable to break them. I don't know, but we're gonna try to make an arrowhead out of it right now. Y'all hang around. All right, the way we're going to, we want the bottom out of this, and it'd be really cool if it was rounded. What do? You just go to whacking on it. I got a bolt, and it'll barely fit in there, and I'm gonna just drop it in the bottom. I've seen a guy do this on video, so I'm hoping it'll work. Drop it in the bottom and see if the bottom of that'll come out. If not, I may have to give it a pop. We'll find out. Well, I declare. There it is. This is thinner than I thought it was going to be, and it's got that hump, so I don't know if we'll get an arrowhead out of that or not. I figured the bottom would be thicker. See if we can find a spot I can show you. See here? It's got the hump in the middle and goes in here. We'll get this off this edge and just see what we can do with it. Let's try this brown one and see if we can get the bottom out of it as well before we get started on that. That worked out pretty good. This one seems a little thicker. We may start on this one. How about that? That's pretty cool. Really didn't create much of a mess here. We got this to throw away. sides of the bottle, as you can tell, has got way too much curve. Set these to the side and get these cleaned up. All right, let's get started on this one. All right, I got this old rock that I use. I picked it up somewhere, I can't remember, in a creek or something. It had to have been because of how smooth it is. They got, you can buy these little, all that is a copper fitting glued over. It's got some lead in it on the inside, and then it's glued over this stick. Gives it a little weight. Those are really good. And I would encourage you, if you're going to get into this, don't start with the antlers and the rocks. Get you some tools, copper nails to flake with. Get you some stuff like that. All right, let's get started. Not going to do a lot of talking. I'm just going to try to make this arrowhead. Always wear gloves. Messing with this stuff. First thing we've got to do is get this edge off here. Not really whacking it very hard, just giving it little taps. All the way around. I don't know how this is going to work out. This is thin and it's got that hump in it. So I don't know if we'll get a head out of this one or not. A flat one would be much better. We're going to go around and try to get this ring off of here. Just kind of striking away from it like that. We don't want to strike into it or we'll bust our glass. And I'm holding it pretty solid to keep the shock from going through it. If this were a piece of obsidian, we'd be doing the same stuff here. If I do get an arrowhead out of this, it'll be a thin one, probably too thin to hunt with. I guess I made an arrowhead from a piece of glass once, and it was it's the only one I've made from a piece of glass, and it was an old bleach bottle. Clorox, it had Clorox on the side, wrote on the side, and it had a thick bottom, and it was flat, and I made a beautiful arrowhead out of it. And I'm sure you could find the right bottle. But even if this is the curve, the technique, you want to learn how to work the stone or glass in this case. So saving you a lot of money, because this could be some high price stuff that you're working with right here. That obsidian costs like $60 for 20 pounds. 20 pounds ain't a lot of rocks. So this we just picked up. We did our service here by picking this up side the road. Kind of prettied up places. And we're getting some napping practice right here. Notice how we've got it now. Well, there we go. It's all turned down. Now we'll work that off and things will start smoothing in, and we'll get into the flatter part of this thing. There again, we're not whacking it hard. We're just going around it and working it. I'm using the abrasive side, the flat side of my rock here. If I got something like a lip I want to hit, I'll turn it to that corner and hit it with that corner. Alright, I'm still working it around. We're fixing to try to make it into the shape of our head now. And one other thing, when you're doing this, if you'll watch, when I hit that, you'll see some dust come off of it. Little glass dust. You want to be outside. Notice the wind's blowing it out. You definitely don't want to breathe that crap. But you got to nap inside. Lay you out a tarp and sit on it, so it'll catch all your little scraps and stuff. And wear a mask. I would encourage you not to do this inside. get outside somewhere. I'm out here way in the edge of the woods. My house is way over there. Nobody's going to be walking right here. And you can see just piles of rock where I've been working here. We got our little indention almost gone. If you can still see a little bit of it, we're working our way around it. But now we're going to just keep making flakes and make us a point out of it. And we may get one out of it. I think I'm going to have the base here. It'll be going across here, and then it'll go up into an arrowhead. That's the plan. Let's keep working it around into shape. I wonder if a marble, like maybe a ball bearing, would get the bottom out of that bottle like we did with that bolt. Probably a drill bit would work. I actually thought it might break the bottom in half, but it did just right. That's pretty cool. Beautiful, beautiful day today. The older I get, the less I like really hot weather, and the less I like really cold weather. I'm a guy of, I like it to feel good. All right, we're still working it. Starting to take even better arrowhead shape. Still has a little bit of a hump here, and we're going to work around towards getting that gone. Got a battle scar right here. We got to remember every time you break a flake to clean it off, because I pressed my hand against and there's a piece of glass there and it got me. I'm putting my nail below the center line and on that edge and pressing, pushing in slightly and pressing downward. You don't want to get too big of a bite or it'll break your point in half. Just want to take a flake off of there. This is basically what you do with the rocks too. It's just cheaper. And this is by far easier. The rocks may not break that easy. I'm putting very little pressure here and getting things like I want. Yeah, we're starting to get somewhere now. The ends are going up, so I got to remember to flip it down. I want my flakes going that way to make it get leveled out for me. All right, let's go around it with a rock and see what we got. See, their scars where we're flaking are starting to go all the way across or getting closer to the middle. We'll be able to get it thinned, and our hump is slowly going away. So we're getting there, in other words. We might make a point out of this joker yet. We're about to make a point out of this. I'm bad to want to go just that little bit more and end up breaking it. So I think we're going to be calling this one in just a short bit. You see it? I can actually see through it. It's got so thin. And you held it up to the light, you can practically see through the edges of it. It's a pretty point there. I'm going to go on around, and I want to try to run a few flakes through this side. And we actually got it flat. It's got one little high spot there, easy to get out. And well, that's that glass, that brown glass, it flakes up pretty, doesn't it? We're not through yet, but we're getting pretty close. And that right there is pretty doggone sharp, but I just think it's probably too brittle to hunt with. But it makes a pretty point though, doesn't it? I bet if you had a big enough piece of glass, it would make a heck of a knife. So let's shape the edges a little bit. And I may put a couple of little notches there, not much. We're gonna leave it kind of big too. I think that's cool. What do y'all think? Look pretty good? From you guys just starting out, as I said, you don't start there. I lost my deal here. Don't start out with high priced rocks. Start out with this glass. And I never tried the toilet stuff, but they say it makes fine arrowheads. Johnstown. But I'm kind of at the point now that I do pretty good working on rocks like Georgetown Chert, and that's the best. That and Edwards Plateau, that's the best that I've ever worked. They both come from Texas, and it may be the same stuff with different names, I don't know. But if you're looking to buy some, the Kill Cook, if it's treated, it's the white stuff. I actually made a point the other day out of it. That would be this stuff here. I made that from a flake. It works pretty good too. I killed my first 2 deer with those kind of points. One about that size as well. But it's pretty cool. I actually got this kind of symmetrical. I guess that's the right word. Everything looks pretty even on it. Got one little spot here. Shoot pretty good flakes in there on that flat side. I actually almost got flake scars all the way across it. But I want to get that hump there. But I want to quit with it before I break it too. So what do? Since we're not going hunting, I think we're quitting with it before we break it. That sounds like a really good plan. Just a rock and a nail. Nail, you could drive a nail in, or I drill a hole first where it wouldn't split, but you could take your broom handle and make you a flaker. And it don't have to be copper. This metal one here seems to be doing okay. Now, I don't know if I read or somebody told me that copper was what you got to use. But and I admit it does seem to grab better. But this works okay. I don't see a disadvantage in it, especially if you got to pay good money for the other stuff. Let's put us 2 notches in it. And they're not going to be deep notches. Just so that we could tie it into something if we wanted to. You may hear a tractor in the background. My neighbor is over there. He has a garden. And he's got his music on. Gnats are bad. And he's over there gardening. I have good neighbors. we all tend to get along. Of course, they live way over there and I live way over here. That's a plus as well. I just got neighbors like a couple of years ago. I used to live on this end of the swamp here, all by myself. And I knew it was coming sooner or later. But it's all good. We're gonna quit. They're not even perfectly even, but they'll work. There we go. Let's get this end of it right. Finish point. Pretty thin as well. There you go. Alrighty. That's how you build an arrowhead from trash. Hope y'all enjoyed that. The whole point of this was some guys that asked me about where you buy rocks and this and that. And you know, to learn, I would suggest you learn with some glass. You can make some pretty cool stuff, and you probably could if I made this a little smaller. I expect it would kill a deer. I don't know how strong it would be, but I'm sure it would cut through and get in there and do the job. Pretty happy with it. Still got one little high spot in there, but I'm not going to break it fooling with it. Point from a, I think that's a beer bottle. Point from an old beer bottle. And thank y'all for watching. And we're about to go hunting and fishing, so maybe we'll have some stuff besides in my front yard. And remember, my hat, I just noticed my hat has a really good saying. Read that. It's true. All right. See y'all on the next one. Thanks for watching.